Hi, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the Maker's Cave. And today we're going to do some more Halloween stuff. And it's going to be a MP3 motion sensor type of project. On one of the Facebook groups I belong to for Halloween, somebody was asking how do they get some sound into their prop with motion activated. Now we've done some of that before, but one of the people suggested something from Amazon, and they put a link to it. I saw it and I bought it. It's this little device right here. It's got a little motion sensor right here, and it has some internal memory, so you can load, as many MP3 files as you want on here. And each time it triggers, it'll go through the loop of all those files that are on there. If you only have one file on there, of course, it'll only play the one. It runs off of 3 AA batteries that are in the back here. And here's basically how it works. I'll turn it on. The side switch has 2 volumes. The first one up is low volume. The second one is high volume. And let me tell you, the low volume is pretty loud. It takes about 20 seconds for it to warm up. Sometimes I've found that the motion won't work until you push the A button, which sets the mode. So after 20 seconds, you push that to make it do its first sound, and then it goes. And what I'll do is I'll put my hand in front, play the next file. Well, I thought that was pretty neat, but I don't know if you can tell on looking at it straight on here. Let's turn it off so you can hear. But every time the song plays, or the MP3 goes off or starts to play, there's a red LED here, and that LED stays on as long as the MP3 file is being played. Then it goes off. So you know me. Let's hack something. So I'm figuring, wouldn't it be neat if we took this and one of the relays you often see me use with the Arduinos and some of the other sound cards that uses a small trigger to make it activate. What if we tied the sense wire for the relay in with that LED? So every time this goes off, the LED would fire. I mean, this would be excellent as a mini controller for lights. You have something in the corner of your yard or your haunt, and you just want some sound and some light to suddenly come on and flash onto that. Or even a rocking chair. You want some motion to go on, you want maybe the light to go on, and then you want the rocking chair to start to move. This would lend itself very well to doing this if we can somehow gain control of that LED, so when it goes on, it activates the relay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to open this up, see what makes it work, and see if we can't hack this a little bit. The reason why I think this is going to work is because this is a 5-volt relay, and this runs off of 3 AAA batteries, which is about 4.5 volts, which is close enough to make this relay work. So let's bring you on forward. I'll give you the overhead, and we'll start taking this apart and see what makes it tick. Before we start taking this apart, I just want to go over a few more features of this. Here is the micro USB port on the side here, where you can, it comes with a cable, so you can plug into your computer to transfer the files back and forth. On the front here, there's 2 buttons labeled A and B. You long press the A button, and it will do a loop through the songs. And I don't know what the other mode does. I forgot, because I just wanted to be able to loop through. And the B button just simply plays the next song in the track. On the back, you have your battery compartment where you got your 3 AA batteries. We're going to take those out right now. It looks like there are 4 screws right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, that allows us to take this back off. So that's what we're going to do right now, is we're going to take that back off. All right, moment of truth. Let's take the back off of this. And just as I suspected, there's not much to this board. There is obviously your speaker connectors right here for the speaker. two power wires here for the battery compartment. Now, what's nice is this is actually a connector here for the speaker, so I'm going to see if we can wiggle that out. Okay, so now I can remove this, get this out of the way. So now we just have the power right here, and here's the board. There is the LED right here. Now I'm going to turn this over, so here the LED is right here. So I'm going to turn this over right here. And here are the connections. Right here are the two solder spots for the LED. Now, I guess it really doesn't matter which one we attach a test lead to, or actually the lead to, because the relay, if you recall, has a little setting right here that allows us to either work when it gets a positive or a negative voltage. So we could always change it to what it is, but I am curious to see which this is. Now, I'm going to take a guess that the connector, here's the micro USB connector right here. From following the trace and looking at it, I think this connector right here is the positive connector. Okay, so what we need to do is we need three, let me back up here. What we basically need, we need three things to come out of this. We need the positive and negative from the battery compartment to make the relay work. And then we need the sense wire to trip the relay. That sense wire is going to go to this one connector here that is in the, that trip wire is going to go to one of these connectors on the LED. I guess the one thing we could do is put a voltmeter up to it, put the batteries back in it, put a voltmeter up to it, and see what happens when the, I guess I'm pretty sure that this one right here is the positive. So there's our meter. So what I want to do is I'm going to put in the batteries. Actually, before I put the batteries in, let's hook the speaker back up. So now that we have this all apart, I'm going to use my multimeter here. First, I'm going to see exactly how much voltage we're going to be putting out. From the battery case. So I got cable here, and I'll put this up to the positive lead. So we have about 4.8 volts. Okay, a little more than 4.5. That should be plenty to fire off that relay, or to make the relay work. So now we need to see which one of these connectors on here, or which one of these LED connectors, solder pads here, is positive that we can tie into. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the negative cable here clamped up to the negative battery terminal, and what I do is I'm going to turn this on, and when it starts to make noise, I'm going to measure this one pad right here for the LED. All right, as you saw, that LED puts out about 3 volts, which is going to be plenty to trip that LED, or to trip that relay. So before this starts making some noise again, let me turn it off. Okay, and I'll explain exactly what we need now. Let me get the multimeter out of the way. So we need 3 things out of this. We need a positive and a negative to power the relay. And then we need a third wire for the sensed wire to actually trip the relay to make it, to go off, to activate what you want. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to use, I have some 3 conductor wire laying around, and I'll give you a link to where you can get this. It's on Amazon, not very expensive, and odds are if you're doing any kind of Halloween stuff, you've got some wire like this laying around anyway. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of the wires, which are the black and the red, okay? And we're going to put those right on, solder those right to the terminals of the battery. And then carefully, we're going to solder the end of this wire right to this LED pad right here that we saw put out the 3 volts. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to take you out a little bit here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. First, let's strip out some wire here. Now, before we get started, there is a little caveat with this. Since we're going to tie the relay directly into the battery compartment here, that means the relay is always going to get 5 volts, even when this is turned off. So once we do this hack, the best way to turn this off is to literally take the batteries out. And then when you want it to work, put the batteries back in so it'll power everything all up. You know, it's a give and take, because if this works, it's a small price to pay to just take the batteries out. I mean, if you wanted to really get fancy, you could always cut one of these wires and put a button in there for on and off. But we just want to make this a down and dirty, easy hack. You know, turn it off, take the batteries out, turn it on, put the batteries in. There you go. So I stripped the wires, I twisted them. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tin the wires, which if you've ever done any soldering, means we're just going to put a little bit of solder already on these leads, so they're all set to go when we solder them. So there you go. There's a little bit of solder now on the end of each of those. We'll bring this over here. Now let's figure out how we're going to run this wire. When this is all together, so you got 3 holes right here where you can mount it with like a screw. So I think what we'll do is we will take one of these over here and run the wires through this. This is why I made such a long, I stripped back so much wire. Let's see if they fit through here. It's a little tight, but there's a little plastic piece right here. I'm going to take my nippers. Now I made a nice big hole in there. That was blocking the hole. You guys are pretty inventive. You'll find a way to mount this up. If not, just lay it somewhere. Okay, so now the leads are all through. So now we just need to solder them onto the respective positive and negative leads. So I'm going to take this red, put some solder on my soldering iron. Okay, so now the positive and the negative are in there. Now comes a little trickier one. And I think to make some more room, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the speaker connector out. There's also a connector here for the power. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to move everything aside. So now let me get you guys pulled in. So this is the pad right here that we want to attach our sense wire to. So we're going to bring this back over here. So basically we just need to solder that right onto there. Now this is a little long, so I am going to cut it down a little here. So I just have a little bit left there, as you can see. And now I'm going to attempt to solder that on there. So I am just using the electrical tape to hold the board into place while I solder. So that's what we want to do right there. So let's see if I can pull this off. I'm going to load up a little bit more solder on here. I should only need to touch this to do this. And there we go. There is that yellow sense wire soldered right onto there. Like I said, this is the connector that's closest to the micro USB. What was that? It's oh, made some kind of noise. So this is the connector that is closest to the micro USB port on the edge of the board. And like I said, if you make a mistake and actually accidentally solder it to the other one, it doesn't matter. You can always switch the relay around so it works on negative instead of positive. So it's not that big a deal. I am now going to plug this back in, making sure that I put the battery back in the connector it's labeled battery right next to the there, so you know where it goes. And then we're going to bring back in the speaker. We are going to put that right there. Now I'm going to cut off a little bit of wire here so we can wire it into the relay. I'm only going to use a little bit of wire. You can make yours as long as you want. So now once again we have the black and the red and the yellow. I think I'm going to expose just a little bit more so we got some more working room here. There we go. Now let's strip the end of these off. Now let's go get, well, first off, before we do any wiring, let's just turn this back on and see if we still have a functioning unit. Okay, so it still works. Good, we didn't burn anything out. So now let's wire up the relay. First thing we're going to put in is the positive. The one right next to it is the negative. And I didn't take the batteries out, and as you can see, LED is lit right here because I did not take the batteries out. So the relay's already fired up. Which is what I said before. Remember, I turned the unit off to have it stop making noise. But because we wired directly into the batteries, it's still running. So that's why once you get done with this hack, to turn everything off, you just need to take the batteries out. And I got to switch the jumper here so it works off a high, which is a positive voltage. Now we're going to put the sense wire in. Now we're going to turn the unit back on again. And I don't know if you're going to be able to tell or not, but this LED is going to come on when there is sound. Let's turn the unit back on. At least that's what's supposed to happen. Okay, I don't know if you could tell or not, but yes. Okay, so here's what happened when we were trying to do this. The circuitry seems to be working for the relay. As you can see, the red LED is coming on. And when it trips, the activation relay is coming on. But I do not feel the relay tripping. And I think that's because there's just not enough voltage. But we aren't done yet. Go to plan B. I use this relay, as you may see some of my other videos, because I like this because it's got some heavy-duty terminals here. But this is another one. It's very similar. You've seen it before. It just has some simple terminals. Because it's just simple screw terminals. Okay, not heavy-duty terminals like the other one. And this, I don't think, is going to require as much energy to pull. So what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect this relay. And what we'll do is we will swap in this one and see what happens. Put the positive, negative, and now the sense wire. Again, hard for you to see, but there is an LED right here that's on, which says the... I gotta switch this thing to high, so it works off of a positive voltage. And we're gonna put this in here. So we have the little relay all hooked up here. Okay, brought you guys in a little closer. Here's the power LED. It is lit up. So now we're going to turn the unit on again. Let it warm up. So same as before, the sense wire should trip the relay. Not only make the... There it goes. Okay, so as you saw, the LED tripped and the relay is clicking. Okay, so this is working. So that means every time this goes off, these relay connectors are going. So now let's close all this up. So now let's close all this back up and see if we can make a practical use for this. Here. Here. Now the LED is still lit on here because why? I never took the batteries out. And if you had the right equipment laying around, you could even splice into that power and using one of our USB power connectors you've seen me use on some other projects, you could use this to power this. So you could actually use a brick, 5-volt brick to power this. And when you pulled this out, it would stop working. I know this brick would give you 5 volts. This is only 4.5. That half volt isn't really going to make a difference to this. You should be just fine. All right, so we have it all buttoned back up here. Let's put the batteries back in it. Now, where these come out in the back right here, I would take some hot glue, and I'd just dump some hot glue into there to make sure these stay nice and tight. Okay, and as you can see now that we put the batteries in here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the LED, for the power, the LED came back on, or the relay came back on. So let's find a practical purpose for this now. Now, in one of the other videos I did, I showed you how you can make a light go on with some sound, with another soundboard. So I'm going to use the same light here. Using the normally open contacts of the relay. So when the relay fires off, it will close the contacts. There you go. Hey. All right, so I think I got everything going here. I don't think we should see any smoke when I turn everything on. Let's just see how this goes. All right, so I'm going to plug the lamp in. All right, I found the AC outlet. So, all right, let's see if any smoke comes out. Okay, so far so good. Now, turn this on. Okay, so we've got the relay wired up. It's an AC lamp. So what should happen is when the motion detector goes off, it should trip the relay, which should make the connection for the AC power and make the light come on. So let's see how this works. I can't remember if this lamp is turned on or not, so. And there you go. Oh, remember I said before this unit's a little finicky. Sometimes you have to push the It's not the A button, it's the B button. All right, turn it off. All right, so there you go. That was a real simple hack. This is a neat little device. Like I said, I think I'm going to be using this. I have a small child's rocking chair with a doll that I think I want to rock with a light shined on it. So this would be perfect for that. This was $21 as is. It includes 4 megs of memory on board, so you can use many different sound files as long as they stay within that 4 gigabyte capacity. I showed you how to do the hack. At least I think hopefully you could follow along with that. But yeah, this is pretty good for $21. It's pre-assembled. The sensor is pretty good. Goes out to about 10 feet. You can put this anywhere. You can make this length of wire as long as you want. As you can see, it controls the light. I've showed you before how you could just double up on these relays. There's also a dual relay module, so you could get lights and a motor going, or multiple lights. It'd be pretty cool. So there you go. Another hack done simple for sound and motion, or sound and lights with motion sensing. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you hit like below. And if you want to see more of what we're doing, be sure to hit subscribe. And if you want to know when those videos come out, be sure to hit the bell so you can get notified. So until next time, I'm Steve. Thanks for stopping by the Maker's Cave. I really appreciate spending the time with you, and I'll see you later.